Welcome to the No More Late Fees podcast. I'm Jackie.
And I'm Danielle, and we're just two best friends and ex-Blockbuster employees rewatching some of the best and worst movies from the late 90s and early 2000s. This week, we are talking about the 1996 action film A Long Kiss Goodnight. But before we dive in, let's get into some
Housekeeping.
housekeeping.
How do we feel about that?
You were like so late.
You
were
sorry.
so late.
Housekeeping.
We're just going to leave it like that. I want everybody to know.
I was like, because I'm so used to Zoom having a delay, so I have to like double dutch it. But this time, so for the listeners, the reason why we don't have backgrounds is because we're trialing a new product for recording to see if the quality and the audio is better, but it doesn't seem like it supports backgrounds. We're going to have to figure that out. So anyway, But with Zoom, there's a delay, so I have to like time it just right, which, as y'all know, never works out anyway. But this time it was like spot on, and I wasn't ready. Anyway.
Well, if you love the podcast and you want to support us, here's a few ways that you can.
Please write us a review or rate us, please. It helps us so much. It helps us chart. We're charting. Hold on, let me pull up our charts because it's looking good for us overseas, at least. Maybe not so much in the U.S. But seriously, reviews. We not only do we love reading the reviews, but it really does help us garner interest in the platforms. So we were charting in UAE, Argentina for a hot minute. We were both on film reviews and film and TV, which is a huge deal. Ireland, shout out to Gavin. So please head to your favorite podcasting platform. Leave us a review, rate us, love us. Just like Marky Joe Ho did on Apple Podcasts. I don't know their pronouns. So they wrote, It's titled So Fun, 5 stars. Love these two. Jackie and Danielle have great banter and opinions about movies of the past. Plus, I love their stories about working at Blockbuster long ago. So thank you so much, Marky Joho, for that review.
Thank you. And as well as reviewing our wonderful podcast, don't forget to subscribe to our show on your favorite podcast platform. It will alert you when new episodes are live.
And if you want to support us in a different way, you can sign up to be a Patreon bestie. Head over to patreon.com/no-more-late-fees and you'll get exclusive content, stickers, lives, and access to our Burned Aught Spotify playlist, which are directly culled from my Burned Aughts CDs that I still have. It's a mixed bag.
Yeah. Yeah, did you see the Bop new release version
Yes, and I love it, and I have shared it to my stories twice already. I feel like I need to share it again.
Yes, please. We only shared it once on the No More Late Fees. So if you missed it, I'm sorry. Let's dive into the movie. So, A Long Kiss Goodnight is about a school teacher and single mother, Samantha Caine, who lives an average suburban life until she begins having strange memories of unexplained violence and discovers that she has physical skills that she never imagined. Now, mind you, this is because she has amnesia, of course, another amnesia movie. She hires a private detective named Mitch Hennessey to probe into her past. And he discovers that she is a well trained government assassin who went missing after suffering a bout of this said amnesia, and that her former handlers want her back in their employ. Or do they? The movie stars Geena Davis, Samuel L. Jackson, Patrick Malahide, Craig Bierko, Brian Cox, and David Morse. The movie was directed by Rennie Harlin and was written by Shane Black. You can watch the movie on Max because HBO Max is no longer, it's just Max. And yeah, let's get into our ratings rewind.
So you know the drill. Before we get into the movie, we'll reveal the rating our Y2K versions of ourselves would give. Then at the end, we'll see if our current selves agree with our initial rating. Our scale consists of would buy it again,
The best would play on repeat,
5-day rental,
would watch again.
2-day rental,
Okay, but nothing to write home about.
and same-day rental.
Straight up trash. Just garbage.
So Danielle, what would you rate A Long Kiss Goodnight, your Y2K self?
It's one of my all-time favorite movies, and I have it on DVD. Yeah, I can't praise this movie enough. Love it. You?
I've never seen this movie before.
Every day I question our friendship.
I'm gonna blame you because
What?
if it was your favorite movie and you never introduced me to it, what kind of love is that?
I just assumed you were a normal person and saw this beautiful Christmas movie.
I made you watch The Big Hit repeatedly. You couldn't say, "Hey, I have another action movie that we
I
can
don't
watch."
recall. That
Hmm.
Danielle is long gone. I don't know her
Hmm.
anymore. So I
Okay.
don't know what she was thinking.
Not my fault.
I was happy you were my friend, and I just was like, whatever you want to do, Jackie. You want to
Hmm.
watch Big Hit? That's fine.
I don't think that's how that went, but okay.
Yeah, I don't know why I didn't make you watch this movie. I do know I have it on DVD, and it's amazing. It's so good. So let's get into box office. So this movie had a budget of $65 million and made about $95.5 million. Honestly, it wasn't a success at the time. It was considered a bomb, mainly because it only made like $30 million more than how much it was a highly budgeted film, and a lot of that budget went into the buying the screenplay. So at the time, Geena Davis and Rennie Harlan were married, and it came out 10 months after another movie that they were working on called Cutthroat Island. Actually, the movie was delayed. The Long Kiss Goodnight was delayed because of Cutthroat Island and having to film that. Rennie blamed the film's performance on the confusing advertising, and Shane Black, the writer, he thought it might have maybe been more successful if it were about a man. They did think about making it changing the script for a man, but he said that yes, it might have made more money, but it had to be a woman. The lead had to be female. It has also been suggested that the film's poor advertising campaign and lukewarm critical reception may have been a carryover effect from the previous collaboration of Rennie and Geena with Cutthroat Island. I just don't think people saw the value and the amazingness that is Geena Davis and being an action hero.
Mhm.
And if you think about it, yes, obviously we had Sigourney Weaver in Alien. We had Linda Hamilton in Terminator 2. So we did have those female characters being really kick-ass action heroes. But in Hollywood, it's like you have to constantly prove it over and over and over again. It just can't be something that happens. But Geena Davis, 100%, like laid the groundwork. She
She was
was
awesome.
amazing in this movie. And that was one of the reasons why they did this movie, why Rennie was pushing for this movie, is because they wanted to, make Geena an action hero.
Mhm.
Uh, so it's just really sad that it didn't do well. But they got the last laugh because this movie continuously grows its fan base over the years. People are still discovering it, as Jackie has, because I did not tell her about it apparently. And it comes up a lot on people's favorite top movie lists. It's
Mhm.
just it ages so well considering. Ugh, I love this movie so much.
Oh, who's
Yeah.
going to be
Uh,
leading the charge with the direction of this movie?
all right, that's fine. I do wanna preface that I watched this movie with my mother, which is perfect because that's who I originally watched this movie with, because my parents did not care about exposing me to violence as a child.
We were
And I think
13.
I
It's fine.
they Jaws was my first movie, Jackie, ever,
Oh,
okay?
Jesus.
Don't try to give Christine and Greg a pass, okay? Because they were letting me watch things that I shouldn't have. But yeah, my mom loves action movies and my dad did too. And I think I always had an affinity for this movie because of Samuel L. Jackson. Out of all of his roles, I feel like this one reminds me the most of my dad. And I always think of him as reminding me of my dad, just like the characteristic. So I think that made me have more an affinity for this movie.
It's
So the
Samuel L. Jackson's favorite role that he's done.
I don't blame him. He's great in it. I mean, it was before, like, obviously we had Pulp Fiction before this, right? But this movie is the quintessential Samuel L. Jackson role. It is him. And that's what also like is so great about Shane Black and his writing. When we're watching these movies, sometimes I automatically know that it's not written by a black person, especially when there's a black lead and it just doesn't feel like authentic to something that they would actually say. I feel like obviously Samuel probably added some of his own lines in here, but I think it really was just how Shane Black he writes. I mean, he wrote the Lethal Weapon movies, he wrote The Last Boy Scout, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. The list goes on and on. He's an amazing writer. So it did feel very authentic. And Geena Davis's character, she was fully dimensional. I mean,
Mhm.
obviously she had split personality situation going on, but you felt like she was a real person, a real
Yeah.
woman. And that, for a male writer does not always happen. So
Yeah.
so excited. So yeah, I watched this movie with my mother and there was a lot of commentary. Lots.
So
Lots.
the plan was to watch this with Ken. He ended up working late, and so he came in at the last like 15 minutes. So I got commentary for the last 15 minutes. To the point I was like, would you like me to finish this alone? So we will get to that when the time comes.
Had he ever seen it before?
No.
Oh my gosh. Where y'all been? It's the best movie ever. It's like and you don't love Christmas movies that much, but this is a quality ass Christmas movie. And you can't tell me it's not a Christmas movie.
I mean, it's a Christmas movie in the vein that Die Hard is, and I really don't care either way. So, sure, it's a Christmas movie.
So the movie starts off at Christmas. There's a Christmas parade. You see your girl, she's playing Mrs. Kringle in the parade. And you also see, I'm not sure if I'm going in order, but we're going to ride this out. You also see a crazy man in jail with one eye
One-Eyed Jack.
watching watching this Christmas parade and getting very upset by seeing Mrs. Kringle. You also are introduced to the main character, which is wonderful Geena Davis, and her name is what, Samantha Sam
Mm-hmm. Samantha.
Samantha Caine. And so it starts with her telling her story that she woke up one day in a hospital. She was doesn't remember what happened to her, who she was, and she's also pregnant when she wakes up. She ends up being a school teacher. She's hired a bunch of private eyes to try to figure out what happened to her, who she was, the to the point where she doesn't have the money to get like the big wigs anymore. She's down to like the bottom of the barrel kind of private investigators. And also, she has been in a long term relationship with a wonderful man who is the dad from Everwood. That's how I'm going to recognize him. Even though I saw him first in this movie, that's who I know him as. And they seem to have like a very nice, idyllic life. They're happy
Mhm.
with each other. He's very loving to her daughter, even though that's not his daughter per se. And they're living the dream
And
essentially.
so just 2 additional points. She had a safety deposit box key on her when she woke up, but the
Yep.
number had been filed off of it, so she doesn't know anything aside from she keeps it on a bracelet. And then she has scars all over her body. So she's like, obviously I was into something.
Yeah.
I just can't
Yes, something
remember. So
happened.
at this point, her daughter is about 7. It's been 8 years since she's had amnesia, but she's settled into this kind of cozy suburban life.
And then we see the family have oh, they're cooking in the so they're cooking in the house. They're getting ready because they're about to have like a Christmas party at their house. And so she starts chopping away and realizes that
It's not, that's
where are
after.
we?
So they are
Oh,
having a
this is after
Christmas,
the car
yeah,
accident.
so
Yes.
they're
Okay.
having a Christmas party, everyone's gathered, everyone's having a great time. Uncle Earl drinks a little too much, and so she has to drive Uncle Earl home. But then he starts like fucking with her while she's driving on this snowy ass road in the middle of like the country.
Yeah,
And
and he's also trying to feel her up.
yeah. And so she's like trying to fight him off a little bit and then looks up and there's a deer in the road. So she hits the deer, they go careening off of the road, hit a tree. She's ejected from the car. Seatbelts, people, save lives. And she like lands in a snowbank. She very obviously has a cut on her head. And then she kind of gets up. She's walking through the snow barefoot. And then she walks over to the deer, which is obviously in pain and dying. And she breaks its neck and puts it out of its misery. So you're already seeing there's kind of like behaviors that are atypical of her now persona starting to emerge after she's like whacked her head.
And while she does finally pass out, like
Mhm.
after doing this, the car is on fire. And when she's passing out, I do love these scenes where you kind of have like this black abyss and there's like a mirror situation. And you see a version of her with like bleach blonde hair, talking to her, engaging with her, almost like a boogeyman saying, I'm coming back. And you're
Mhm.
like, what the hell is happening? She wakes up and she still doesn't really remember anything. And I think this is when we get to the kitchen scene where she's
Mhm.
chopping, and she's chopping really, really fast. And so she's asking for more things to chop. But then things get a little haywire because she decides to, I think it's like a tomato.
Mhm.
She throws a tomato up in the air and then throws a butcher knife at it, hitting the cabinet with a bullseye, essentially. And you could just see the fear in not only her daughter's face, but her lover's face. Like, bitch, what? And I love how she's in complete denial and she's like, chefs do that because
I
she
must
thinks,
have been a
okay, maybe I
chef.
can do, yeah. And she's like, chefs do that, no problem.
And she's
So
like
mind you, right.
balancing the knife on her finger by like the point of the blade and stuff. Very sus.
So that after this scene, this is when we're introduced to Mitch, because she does talk about previously that she has a private investigator. So when we meet Mitch, he is busting in on a man and a working woman, and he's got his colleagues with him, other cops, I'm using quotation marks here, who are there. And so they essentially set this guy up to blackmail him. I do love that every single person in that room in this scene has played a cop on some show or other movie.
Mhm.
My mom was like, "Oh my god, it's the lady from CSI New York." And I was like, "Yeah, and the other guy's from CSI Miami." And I think I've seen that guy on Law and Order. It was very interesting. But the other guys, he pays bums to pretend to be cops. He works with the working woman, the lady of the night. They work together. She works for his agent, his like I guess you could call it an agency, his PI detective agency, to set this guy up. While he's talking to her afterwards, she's like, one, you got to stop using bums, but two, she got a lead on the
Amnesia
Samantha Caine
file
case.
is what she calls
Yeah,
it.
the amnesia
Amnesia girl.
file. And what ends up happening is that there's a woman that used to, I guess Samantha used to live there, and she kept some of her stuff. So they're able to get some of her stuff, which is a big hit because it's a big payday for them because nobody has been able to give her any information. And so he decides that Mitch is going to go head up to Samantha's place to meet up with her. And when he arrives, shit is crazy because what's his name? One Eye Jack?
One-eyed Jack.
One Eye Jack has busted into their house and literally starts attacking them with a fucking shotgun.
But it's not a
So,
shot. I don't know what kind of gun it is. It
what it
looks
is,
like I d- the
he like
blast
maybe did something
holes.
to it.
Well, the blast holes that are left in that house literally look
Are
like
crazy big.
mini cannonballs. Like would do that damage. Like I don't know what kind of gun that was. It was not your typical shotgun though.
No, not at
Because
all.
at one point there is a hole in the side of her house and she throws her daughter from the house into the tree house through this giant ass hole.
My mom at this point is yelling, "You gotta get the kid out! Like, come on, what you doing? Okay, okay, okay. We gotta fight. We gotta fight. What we do? What we do?" And I said, "Mom."
She
She's like,
know
"What?
what to
I'm just."
do.
This movie is filmed already. This is not a live interaction happening. And this is where I learned, ladies and gentlemen, where I learned how to talk during movies. This is where it comes from.
There.
So the guy, One Eye Jack, takes out Hal pretty quickly. So poor man, he tried his best.
He's
And
not dead. He's just like knocked out in the
just
corner.
knocked out. Yeah. So Samantha, she's hanging in there and she's flailing around a few times, but she knows like to put the refrigerator door to kind of block one of the shots. She gets the knife and gets to stabbing like, and then when she finally gets like ahead of the guy, she does this maneuver where she is over him and she cracks his neck. And this is just when Hal wakes up and she's like, "Chefs do this." And I was like, you right, Samantha, chefs do this."
It's a well-known technique in being a chef.
And it's like when it's muscle memory for her when she
Mhm.
does this. And it it's a little scary, but then all of a sudden she's reminded like, "Oh, I'm a mother and I need to go find where my daughter is." So she goes running outside because, like Jackie said, she threw her outside of the house into the tree house. So when when she goes outside, Mitch is there. One scene I did miss though is when they went ice skating.
That's afterwards.
Is it?
Mhm.
Oh,
So you
so
didn't miss
when
it. It's right now.
it is?
Mhm.
Oh, well then Mitch coming. I thought she leaves with Mitch,
She's
or
ice
does he come
skating
back?
with her daughter by herself. Mitch
I
isn't
know,
there.
but
Oh.
Mitch comes
Oh,
to the house.
Mitch. Yeah, he
Yes,
hasn't shown up at the house yet. I don't
but
think.
Mitch comes
Hold
to
on.
the house when she throws out the daughter. Mitch is the one who's like, "She's fine. She's in my car."
Okay. I think at that point he just tells her he has a lead and it's this postcard. And so I think it's the next day that she decides, because the scene with her daughter happens and it kind of scares her how she like treats her daughter. And that's when she
Yeah.
decides she needs to figure out who she is.
Okay. So she does take her daughter ice skating, and that other part of her comes out because she's trying to teach her how to skate. Her daughter is whining and complaining,
That that
and
that child.
she's a Zima girl.
I don't
Um,
care. She was so fucking annoying.
she did a good job in her acting. So she is one of three acting sisters. So when my mom and I were looking at it, we were arguing about which Zima sister she is, because there's Madeline, Vanessa, and Yvonne. And I wasn't sure if it was Madeline, because Madeline is the one that is on The Nanny, who plays Gracie.
Okay.
But it turns out it was actually Vanessa. No, it was Yvonne, the youngest.
Mm.
And my mom was like, "No, it's the one that was in A Cinderella Story." I said, "First, props that you know that she was one of the stepsisters in A Cinderella Story." But that one was actually Madeline, also Gracie from The Nanny. So Yvonne is the one that's in this movie. And
Okay.
it's confusing because if you look at all three of them, they look very similar. I do believe that Madeline and Yvonne look closer, like they look almost twin like. Sometimes it's hard to tell them apart. Vanessa looks a little bit different, but they were all child actors in the 90s, and you've probably seen them in a bunch of different things. But yes, she was very whiny. And
And not
her mom was like, "Get your ass up." And she was like, "Life is pain." Turns out baby girl was whining, but for a reason, because she fractured her wrist. So Samantha was really, really, sad about that. That she's like, "Oh my gosh," she said she was in pain and I didn't listen. But she also does not remember what she said to
Mhm.
her daughter. So that was concerning to her. And so, like Jackie said, she decides to go with Mitch. They have a lead because there's a postcard that they find in her luggage stuff, and they're going to go try to figure out who it is. So she decides to leave her man and her daughter to go cross country with this man she doesn't know. But also, we do get a glimpse into Mitch's family life. We see him go to his son's house. Him and his wife or ex wife are estranged. They're not together anymore. And she seems to be pretty pissed with him. And we see this because I think he gives a call to his, does he call them? Or no, he stops by. He stops
Yeah.
over to the house.
He gives the son a Christmas gift, and the son is like, she's going to ask if you have a receipt for this, because she's just always assuming that everything he brings by is stolen.
Which we learned that Mitch was a police officer and he did go to jail for stealing a lot of stuff. Was it gold bonds or gold? Was it
I think it was
bonds or
bonds.
something?
Yeah.
Yeah, bonds. So he's a dirty cop essentially. He goes to jail for many years. And so his ex wife obviously doesn't believe him. But it is to be noted that the boy that does play his son is one of the Hodge brothers, which I was like, "Oh snap." I thought it was the Hodge brother that I think is sexier, but I'll take either one. I'll take either one.
I'll let them know.
What is there's Edwin, who was in this one, and then there's the other Hodge brothers.
While you're looking that up, okay, so I figured it out. She does the cutting stuff, and that's a different scene than when the guy One-Eyed Jack busts in. So it's
When the
like the
secret, yeah.
cutting stuff, then it's carolers, and he's holding the carolers kind of at gunpoint to
Mhm.
get into the house. They have their kerfuffle, and that's after the ice skating scene, and then Mitch is there.
Gotcha.
So then at this point, like Danielle said, she decides I need to figure out who the fuck I am. She ain't right. And so she packs up. She's going to go with him to investigate this address that's on this postcard. And she tells the daughter, keep a candle lit in the window for me so I know my way home. She writes her portable phone number on the daughter's cast. And
Which
then
is an important.
go ahead.
Sorry, it was important because my mother and I got in an argument because she said that this movie took place in. It's supposed to take place in the 70s, and I was like, "No, mom, that's just what Mitch likes to wear.
Yeah.
It is not the 70s, it's the
No.
90s." And she argued with me quite a bit until I said, "Well, in the 70s, they did not have cell phones.
And
How
Mitch
she
had a
got a cell phone
pager.
number, ma?" Didn't even get to that. But that's when she was like, "Oh." Later on, they do actually say 1992 or 93 or
Mhm.
something. So she's like, "Oh, okay." But I had to argue with her about that. So, anywho, yes, she
Oh,
has
Christine.
a cell phone.
And then she also gives the bracelet with the safety deposit key on it and puts it on Mr. Perkins, which is
Her
Caitlin's
daughter's little,
bear.
yeah, like your bear.
Like my bear, Polly. He's a polar bear, if you could not glean from his very creative naming.
He's hanging on by a thread, literally. I
He
pray
is
for him
not. He
every
is in
day.
great shape for being 37.
He is. He hanging in there for sure.
He was well
He-
made. Thanks, World Wildlife Fund. Anyway, so cut to a scene at the White House where the real Mr. Perkins and the mom had named the bear, and it was just she thought it was a funny name, but really it was like a deep rooted, buried
Memory.
memory. Mr. Perkins has lost one of his agents. The president is not happy. I don't know why we're just having this conversation now, though. It's been 8 years. No one's noticed that she's been gone.
I don't think that's I think so. This is a new president. I think this is a new president, new administration, and so they're telling him stuff that's happened in the past, and it's come up again because they find out that they find out that she is alive because of the whole one-eyed Jack situation.
Hmm.
So they what they get is a report is that he saw a woman on the news that irritated him and he broke out, and then they find out he's dead, and so they realize it has to be
Charlie.
Charlie
Mhm.
because she's the one who fucked up his eye. And so they're having to tell the president, who didn't know about this person or any of this situation prior. And he's like, "Look, I don't even want to know this shit. Y'all are some dudes, some dirty ass shit. And that's why this money is going to healthcare and not to the line budget of this espionage bullshit."
Defense. Yeah.
Right. So that is what is happening. Not that they're just realizing
Okay.
Charlie's gone, it's that they have to update the president about what the hell's going on. But Mr. Perkins isn't even telling the president everything because
Mhm.
he is literally playing both sides of the fence
Yeah.
with the bad guys.
And I love this next scene because Mitch is driving and Sam's sitting with him, and he like there's a lady that he drives by. She got big boobs. And so he's like honking at her, hollering out the window. And Sam gets on him like, what are you trying to accomplish? Like, that's gross. Stop that. Like, just because you see some tits, like, you feel like you have the right to like treat her that way. Loved it. That whole monologue she gives to him, I was here for.
Yeah, and he's just like, you know, You have a beautiful face, but you ain't got them those Titoss.
Yeah.
But essentially, she's like, that's not really doing anything for that woman. Like, there's no point to any of this. And they
Go
get to the
ahead.
hotel after
Mhm.
this.
Well,
Um,
don't they no, they go see
oh, they
don't they go see
they
the guy, Mr. Walden?
they call the I think they call a number,
That's right.
and they call, yeah, they find the number for Nathan,
Nathan
and
Walden, and
they
it's in a book that was in her possessions, and it was
right.
to Charlie from Nathan Walden.
And at this point, Timothy, and who's a bad guy, and Perkins, they figure now that they realize Charlie is alive, that's most likely they call him the old man, that she's going to try to get in contact with him. So she
Mhm.
calls him. He automatically remembers her number. I mean, her voice. And he's like, look, let's just meet at the train station or whatever. So her and Mitch go. Now Mitch is like, this could be a damn trap. I don't
Mhm.
trust none of this. And so Charlie has no idea what he looks like. She just knows he's older. So she's at the bar. Now Timothy tests her to see, because he finds out through the, you know,
The
through the
wiretap.
water, right? He finds out, right, from the wiretap, that she has amnesia. So
Mhm.
he's testing this by trying to like pretend he's hitting on her or talking to her at the bar. She doesn't recognize him at all. So he's like, this is easy peasy. This is going to be great. Mitch does have a gun in his pocket. This is relevant because Timothy gives the green light for all the men to start going after Sam and trying to kill her. And again, like muscle memory, it kicks in for her. She starts shooting up the place, like taking out guys trying to kill her. Her and Mitch have to run up the stairs, and they realize they're in a precarious situation because they're kind of trapped. So
And there's a
she
grenade.
there's a grenade. So they have a gun, and I think maybe like a semi automatic or something. So she uses the gun to shoot out the glass of the window. They're going to jump from the fucking second floor onto the ice outside. As they're jumping out of the window, she uses the semi-automatic gun. I don't know if that's what you call it, but that's what I think it is. And she shoots out the ice so that they can land into the water. I still think the motherfuckers would have been dead, but who am I?
Did you notice at the beginning of the shootout in the train station, there is an old guy that obviously works at the train station. He has his little uniform and his cap. He turns around and there's like this column that's like integrated into the wall, and he literally just like looks like he's playing hide and seek. Like he just puts his hands up and kind of leans into the column and just like I guess is just hoping that he's not shot while
I
everyone's
did not
shooting around
see
him.
that. I'll
I
have to
loved
go
it.
back and watch that
I
now.
was like, I rewound it because I'm like, hold on, is that guy just hiding in plain sight? He is.
He's trying to make it. He's trying to live.
That was an extra being the most extra in that scene. I'm telling you.
Well, after they get out of the water, they're like trying to get out of harm's way because people are still chasing them. And Nathan actually saves them, hits one of the bad guys with his car, and tells them to get in. So
Mhm.
he takes them to another undisclosed location and is trying to tell Charlie who she is. He's like,
Mhm.
you are a
Government
weapon,
assassin.
literally.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a
It's
killer.
in some of my research, I read that this was loosely based on the Bourne Identity, which it's the same premise. It's just someone with
Mhm.
amnesia, highly skilled, highly trained, and trying to figure out who the fuck they are.
Yes. And even how she is brought into to be a secret agent spy
Mhm.
is probably a programs that they've done before, which is Her parents were, I don't know if her parents were Russian spies or something, but
Mhm.
they were spies themselves. They were killed, and so Perkins actually recruits her out of she's a child. He
Mhm.
recruits her, aka adopts her, and raises her essentially to
To
be
be.
an
Yeah.
assassin. Yeah. So that's pretty much everything Nathan tells her,
Oh,
and
they
that
were part of the
she was
Royal Irish Rangers.
oh, they were Irish, my
Yeah.
bad. Yes, you're right. And Nathan also tells her that she was working a case and things went wrong. But Mitch also doesn't believe anything Nathan is saying.
Mhm.
He thinks that Nathan is trying to trick her, and he pretty much convinces her such, and they I don't know if they knock Nathan out, but they pretty much they knock him out, they punch him, whatever, and then they
Mhm.
steal his car, and they decide to head to another guy that I don't know how they
It's
had his
it's the
information.
postcard
The postcard,
had
right? David,
it was
not David.
yeah, it was the postcard said something about like I'm engaged. We have a farm, and I think it gave the address to the farm like hope you can make the wedding, and then the postcard was addressed to uncle someone. And so they go to that farm to try and find her fiance to get more answers. We did miss the part in the hotel room, which I think the only thing that really happens in there is like she goes to open her suitcase and it has like a false bottom and it has like a rifle in pieces and she very quickly like assembles it. So she even has like and
Yeah,
her trusty knife stashed.
and she almost shoots Mitch.
Mitch. Yeah.
Yeah, she does, and you see, like, she calls her daughter to check on her, like, you kinda see that Sam is still behind the wheel. When they go to see her supposed fiancé, his name is Daedalus or something like that, I think.
To Dallas.
Some weird name.
Yeah.
Daedalus? I don't know.
Daedalus. Yeah,
Um,
I don't know. Can we
Deadless Deadless.
pause for a minute because Craig
Mhm.
Bierko, I'm probably saying his last name wrong. I was like, I have seen
No,
that
you're
man
right,
before because he was very good looking in this movie. And I'm like,
and not so much in this one.
I was like, I have seen that face before. And it was because he was in a couple episodes of Sex and the City. He played Ray, who had ADD and was the jazz
Yes.
musician. I was like, I
Yeah.
knew I saw that face before. So we can continue now, but shout out.
He also dated Charlize Theron,
Did
so
he?
yeah, at one point. I don't know for how long. And it's funny enough because that's the character of Timothy. Craig Ferguson auditioned for the role of Timothy.
Hmm.
I can't see it.
No. I
Can't.
think he did a really good job in this role being
An asshole.
very just evil, but then like
Yeah,
it at points he almost had a charm to him too. I thought he
yeah.
did a really good job.
He was a really good bad guy. He has a lot of charisma.
Mhm.
Very much similar to Timothy.
Oliphant.
Oh, Oliphant. Yeah, very same vibes,
Mhm.
100%. So when they get to Deadless house, he plays along. He realizes that she doesn't know who he is. What ended up happening is that he was her mark. She was sent to like fall in
Operation
love with for him to
Honeymoon.
fall in love with her, right, and figure out his whole operation.
Mhm.
But as she's talking to him, Mitch is like waiting and watching them from afar, and Nathan comes and pulls a gun out on him. It's like, bitch, you should not be here. I told you this is not good. But as they're going through this whole process, it's too late. A helicopter comes with Timothy on it, and then they realize the jig is up, and they end up killing Nathan, which we find out because he is in the water where they're going to torture Samantha slash Charlie. and they take Mitch, strip him naked,
Mm-hmm.
and after beating him up and throw him in a hole. So they're trying to figure out what Charlie remembers because at this point now, yes, Deadless was a bad guy, but we find out that Perkins had to align himself with him as well as Timothy. So they're trying to figure out how much that she knows about their Project Honeymoon scheme.
Mm-hmm.
So they have her tied up to this kind of, I don't know
A
what you
water
call
wheel.
it, a water wheel. There you go. There's a name. And what I do appreciate is this. They do have her in some sort of white negligee, but they don't do that nipple thing where they try
Yeah.
like her being in white that you could
I
see
feel
through
like
it.
it was just because she was in Samantha clothes and Samantha was like in long peasant skirts and stuff. It almost felt like it was just like her underslip for her
Yeah.
outfits.
But I also think that's just Gina Davis, like, hell no, you.
Yeah.
Well, and it's her husband. Maybe her husband's like, I'm not. And that maybe that's another part. Like, obviously, Shane Black made an amazing script,
Mm-hmm.
but the fact that it was Gina Davis's husband and really caring about how she would be portrayed in this
Mm-hmm.
movie is why she comes off as such a really good character and not sexualized.
Yeah. They did tell her that she was a lot frumpier, like 8 years older and a lot frumpier than she used to be when she was like Samantha Caine.
Yeah, they say a lot of shitty things to her.
Yeah.
And in passing, as they're talking to her, she's like, I don't remember anything. She's still very much Samantha. And Daedalus kind of speaks to their relationship, but it's also noted that Timothy makes kind of like a side note that they had like a one night
Mm-hmm.
situation. At this point, my mother is like, well, which one is the dad? When we started the movie, I told her who the dad was. She forgot and
Much
then
like Samantha
decided,
Caine.
much like her daughter would normally. And then she proceeded throughout the whole movie to keep bothering me about who the father was. And I was just done. I was like, you know what? You're gonna just find out because I already fucking told you. Okay? So that is also like you're looking at both of these characters trying to figure out which one potentially could have been the father because you kind of realize that she, as she said, bumped uglies, or I don't know, she said rub their parts or something. So we know that she had sex with both of them.
Mm-hmm.
So Douglas decides to, well, he's then starts saying, okay, well, after a few rounds of you going into this water, in this icy cold water, she's going to talk. She's going
Mm-hmm.
to tell us anything she may know. So as they're throwing her in the water and holding her down, that's when she sees that Nathan is underwater, and she's terrified. But also, I don't know if it's just the pain or what, it starts to trigger Charlie
Mm-hmm.
being awakened. And so I think by like the third time they bring her back up for air is when Charlie starts talking shit, and she's the one at the
Yeah.
wheel, and she calls Deadless by his name and everything.
Yeah. And I wonder if it's almost, you know how like in Dexter, he's like, I was born in blood because the way she got her amnesia is essentially she fell off a cliff into like freezing cold water and washed up on a beach. If it was like an analogy of like, this is what gave her amnesia, but it's also what's going to bring her back.
Yeah. Well, what gave her amnesia was that I think One Eye Jack shoots her in the head.
Hmm. Yeah, the bullet grazes her head, but she also falls off a really high ass cliff into the water.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Eh,
Nathan had mentioned earlier that he always like carries multiple guns on him, and the one
yeah.
they never search men for is like men don't want to get near other men's junk, and so he always keeps one like in his underwear essentially by his dick.
Yeah, which is very relevant because Charlie threatens them. Well, she at this point, Timothy is gone. He walks
Mhm.
like he leaves, and so she tells Deadless that she pretty much tells him if you stop now, you'll be able to walk, but
Mhm.
he doesn't. So she when she goes underwater, she's able to get one of her hands loose and get the gun. And when she comes back up, she shoots at Deadless, first hitting him in the knee. And as she shoots him in the knee, my mother goes, and that's how it's done. And that's what you do first. I said, yes, mom,
Okay,
that's right.
Christine. I will
um,
say, because when she's getting out of the ropes underwater, obviously they're like cutting into her wrists and stuff. And when she goes
yeah.
to grab the gun, there is a piece of bloody flesh just floating in the water. And I was like,
Ugh.
huh? But also really well done, filmmakers, for adding that touch, but also, oh.
For this scene, Gina Davis and her husband Renly, they checked how long she could hold her breath in their bathtub to prepare for this. I would have told my husband, get a stunt double for this shit because I ain't doing it. Okay, you might have to tie me back and forth to be like every time.
You're just like 2 seconds dunking and then just different ways of gasping for the air on the
Yeah,
way
I
up.
can do it. I can do it. You better stop. Just listen, kid. I can
They
do
would
it.
have created the Little Mermaid under the water technology in 1996 for Danielle to do the underwater scene. So she looked like she underwater, but she not really.
There ain't no way. That shit look cold.
I mean, the water didn't have to be cold for her to do that.
Well, Gina Davis was playing the hell out of that because I was like, baby girl, gonna freeze. Because every time she came up, with the makeup, she was purple and shit. And you know what? She's so hardcore. I wouldn't be surprised if she was doing it in cold water. Just saying. So yeah, she shoots out Deadless's legs and she kills him. And then she goes to go get her buddy, Mitch. Poor thing at the bottom of the
In the
he looked like
cellar.
he was butt ass naked,
Mhm.
all bruised up, and he's like, I knew you would come for me. Like he start like I don't know if he says I knew you would come for me in this scene, but he does say it at some point because she
Mhm.
does straight have to come and get him every time. But I think he says I knew you were gonna come for me in this scene, and the next time she sees him, he's like, what took you so long?
Mhm.
But when he's on the floor trembling, you could see that he's really scared because she is shooting and killing people and he has no idea really what's going on. He doesn't know that that's her coming to get
Mhm.
him, so he's terrified. And the clothes that he has to wear in this after this scene,
Ooh.
oh my god. It's like plaid bell bottoms, green
Leisure
tango
suits.
hat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
It's
lots of
atrocious.
green, a lot of purple, a lot of gold.
A lot of plaid, the room,
Mhm.
and they end up going to Atlantic
Atlantic
City.
City, yeah.
So at first I was trying to figure out like where this took place. I wasn't sure if it took place in New Jersey, but one of the notes that I saw said I think it was like in Pennsylvania somewhere because
Mhm.
later on they're somewhere upstate New York, I think.
Mhm.
'Cause
Yeah,
they're by Niagara
Niagara.
Falls.
Yeah.
So, but in this scene, they're in Atlantic City. Good, like this is old school Atlantic City too. Gold sinks,
Mhm. They're at the Taj
colors
Mahal.
everywhere. It's a hot mess express. This is why my mom thinks the movie is in the 70s. And then Charlie at this point is fully back. Samantha is dead in her
Mhm.
mind, and she she colors her hair bleach blonde, cuts her hair, so she's back to her old ways. My mom was like, why is it so why should she have to do that to her hair? I said, because this is what Charlie likes. She's
Yeah,
like, how is she a secret agent, like, mixing in with everybody looking like this? I said, she don't want to mix in. She's a secret agent, not, you know, she wants to,
undercover. Yeah.
yeah, she's not,
Well,
yeah.
and like she even does her makeup completely different, like a complete smoky eye. I was not
Yeah.
thrilled with like the pink lipstick. I didn't think it
No,
did her skin tone justice. I would have liked to see, especially because
a
she was
red.
like, yes, like a very bold red, like, let's get shit done.
Yeah. She was wearing like a pink shimmery color,
Hmm.
but let's not deny that makeup in the 90s was atrocious.
Yes.
Atrocious.
Yeah,
So, not surprised. She did the best she could. She
it's
did the best
true.
she could. And the new Charlie, so there's a scene that will always stay in my head. She has a gold shot glass. She onto the vodka or drinking. I don't know what she's drinking. I think it's vodka. And she does this shot where she rolls the
Hmm.
shot glass across her mouth. Like she rolls it, takes a shot, and rolls it out. And I told my mom, I was like, you don't know how many times I've done dropped some shots trying to do this maneuver. And my mom
Should we
looked at
get
me,
shot
she's like,
glasses and try and do it?
no, because all my shot glasses are a
Glass.
glass, and I know I'll break
Damn,
it.
Danielle. It was a
It
moment.
is a cool ass. I'm so
Um,
sorry. It's a
but
cool
I've
ass move, but I can't do it.
well,
Or have
we
taught me.
need to
That's all
get
I know.
you a plastic shot glass, and I think we can start a TikTok challenge of us trying to take shots like Charlie.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
100% in on
I
this.
a lot of practice,
No,
and
well,
I'll
I
probably
mean,
take
yeah,
shots.
but like we got to do it. We're doing it. And then we can be like, people
Shots of iced
stitch
tea.
this with the Charlie shot. I like it.
Yes, we will start a TikTok trend.
Okay, good.
100%.
This is it. This is what's going to
So
get us viral. I can feel it.
Did you grow up with a lack of parental supervision?
Do you know all the lyrics to The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air?
Remember Mayor McCheese and the Fry Guys?
Have an inexplicable love for the California Raisins?
Can you remember Madonna's original phase?
Then you might be a part of the Doom generation.
Laugh until you cry with us each week as we stumble blindly through the memories of the movies
And other random things.
that doomed us to be the salty, sarcastic, sardonic ladies you want to hang with.
You know us, you love us, you can't fucking live without us.
Doom Generation, available everywhere you find podcasts.
Hennessey wakes
Ah,
up
right.
and sees she's like torn a picture of her and her family and thrown it in the trash. And then he's been shot in the side, and so she's like, you're weeping, like he's bleeding through his bandage. So she goes, hey, look here, flashes him, and then like rips the band-aid off. She's like, I just need to distract you. So like Sam is gone, gone, gone.
Yeah. Hennessy, mm, he's Mitch is very worried.
He's
He's
literally like, who are you? And her response is, Charlie the Spy, nice to meet you.
100%. I also think that we talked about how this movie didn't do well. I think maybe it was sabotaged for the advertising and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But also, we have to look at, yes, this was the 90s, and we have a female lead who in an action movie and a black male co-lead,
Mhm.
and the amount of times that Charlie kisses Mitch in this movie for that time period,
Mitch was
surprising.
uncomfortable.
And he was, and what I love about it is that he calls it out and he's like,
Mhm.
what the fuck is going on? Now, let's just call it what it is. Charlie's meow meow was looking for a little action. It's
Mhm.
been a while. Now,
Yeah.
yes, Sam has been having sex all this time, but Charlie has not. And she need a ride, you know? And Mitch is there. That's it. Mitch is there. Like, I don't want to say, like, I'm not trying to downplay Mitch or Samuel, but he was side eyeing this
Mhm.
white lady and her bullshit. And he was like, "Get off me! I'm not. I don't know who. When Samantha comes back, you call me because I don't want
Well,
none of this."
and she's used to, very obviously based on dialysis or whatever his name is, and Timothy, like she knows how to get what she wants, and that's through boning.
Right.
So,
Right. But Mitch is a good friend. He's like, "Nah,
mhm.
I'm not fucking around with this. This is too much."
But then she,
But
like, snaps back into her spy mode, and she's like, "I have to call control. I have to finish my assignment that I was given 8 years ago. Like, I have to go find a payphone," essentially. And so she leaves the hotel room, and Mitch is like, "What the fuck?"
well, she leaves because he calls her out. She
Mhm,
knows that she's not getting anywhere with this. But for this time period and this movie was bold. This was not something
mhm,
that happened a lot, and it's really not something we see even today a lot with in any
mhm.
of these action movies. So yeah, I was looking back at it now. I was just like, wow, this was a bold move.
Progressive.
Yes, 100%. But yeah, she does call Perkins. She calls in. They're tracing her,
Mm,
and so she realizes that when she calls Perkins and all this other stuff, he sends men to kill her pretty much
mhm,
afterwards. Because Mitch finds her and saves her. Well, he thinks he's saving her because as she's walking, this guy pulls her over with a gun, and so she realizes, oh, they're trying to get rid of me. This is a totally different scenario because she thought she was going to come back in, like things were. She's realizing that she was set up.
mhm.
And so she steals a car, and Mitch is like, "What the fuck is going on?" And
I love this scene because at one point she's like, "Oh yeah, I really don't have a use for you. Get out." She's driving and kicks Mitch out of the car. He just lays in the middle of the street, starts smoking a cigarette, and then she comes around the block, and then she opens up the door and she's like, "Get in. I found a use for you." And he's just like, "All right," and like gets back in the car. It's so good.
one thing is that scene where she is back to her old self and she's coloring her hair. There is I believe this is when the song "She's Not There" by Santana is playing, and it's very fitting to this development that's happening.
Mhm,
And Rennie Harlan, the director, credits Craig Bierko for suggesting the song. And I do have to note that this soundtrack is amazeballs. It has a lot of good old Detroit Motown in it. It's got some
mhm.
70s vibes. It has, it's just so good. So freaking good. Had to note that. So now Charlie and Mitch are on their way. Where are they headed?
She
Oh,
back
they have to go back
home.
to her house.
Mhm,
Yeah. They have to go back to her house because she tells Mitch that there is safety key. What is
safety
safe deposit
deposit
box
box.
key
Mhm,
that has money and passports and all the things that whatever, and she needs him to go and open it for her.
mhm.
And the only way to do it is because obviously that key is on Mr. Perkins at her home. So she is fully intending at this point to abandon this her child
Mhm.
and boyfriend. She
Al.
doesn't give a shit. So she gets out of the car, she has a gun, and she tells Hennessey Mitch to keep an eye out and to honk the horn if she sees anything, if he sees anything. And it looks like Hal and her daughter are actually at church at this point,
Which
because
is
it is
across the
kind of
street, like, she can see it. She looks through the sight of her rifle to see her daughter at church dressed as an angel for the nativity play.
100% just she crazy. She went and got her the key. She's watching her daughter. So you kind of see a glimpse that maybe she cares more than she's letting on.
Mhm.
And then she hears Hennessey like honking, so she realizes trouble is abae. So there's a car actually chasing him. So she goes and the way that how quickly she's able to lace those skates up,
Mhm.
those ice skates, is really fast if you think
Well,
about it.
so I mean, with my hiking boots, they have the kind of the same laces where the top ones are kind of like hooks that you weave. And I
Mhm.
know for my hiking boots, I leave them laced and I just unhook the hooks. And so
Gotcha.
then you can like hook the hooks really fast and they're already tied and everything. So I don't,
Well, we all
I'm just, it's an option. I'm not saying that is what she did, but yeah.
I
But
feel like
she realizes the quickest way to Mitch is to go across the pond that's essentially in her backyard.
I tell you, this is one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie. It's just so badass the way that she just glides. It took two of my favorite things. This movie and I love figure skating at the time. A lot. So I was 100% down for how she does this kill to protect Hennessy. And after this scene, she is able to she's gonna leave. They do leave. I
Well,
think some. Oh, they do leave. They get in the car, and this is when Timothy calls her
mhm.
because at after they leave, Timothy actually goes and kidnaps her daughter.
And just a note about the ice skating scene, it was scripted to end with Samantha performing a double axel flip and simultaneously firing over her upside down head. But after two aerial rig configurations in sub zero conditions and several attempts at green screening, which failed to hold any convincing fluency to the action, it was dropped from the final cut of the movie. I could imagine that was probably a good chunk of change for it to end up not working out.
Yeah, if it had worked out, I would have came in my pants watching that scene.
Geena Davis would have been on your list. Top
It would
5.
have been too damn good. Okay. Um, so now Charlie and Mitch are back on the road and they hear a phone ringing and remembering that she has a cell phone. I forgot what they call it. Is they don't call it a cell phone in this movie. I forgot what they call it,
A
but
cellular
a
cellular
cellular
I
wireless
found
phone.
I
So,
found your cellular number on Caitlin's cast.
so then she realized that they have the kid, and he tells her a rendezvous point. You
Mhm.
like that language? Where to meet. And while this is happening, Hennessy is like rummaging through the glove compartment, and there's like phone bills and stuff like that, and realizes that there is a phone company not too far away, and they realize that they can reroute a call. The amount how much language she knew about this whole process was
Danielle,
very surprising.
there was a part I paused it. Okay, so my current job, I'm in telephony and I set up contact
I
centers.
forgot
And
this.
she literally says something about getting the ANI, but I have the subtitles on. I was like, she talking about an Annie? She's speaking my language? Like, and that's like literally just like the person's phone number that's calling in. That's how you refer to it. So she called it the ANI, but I literally paused it with the subtitles on it, took a picture of it, and sent it to Alyssa. And I was like, look at this. They'd be talking about stuff I know about. I was very excited.
Jackie, the subject matter expert on this.
This is me on Annie's and Dinas's.
But she like was very well versed. I was like, maybe
Yes.
this is very important in the spy world, so I'll let it slide. I'll let it slide. So because they are able to do this, that buys them some time to
Well, because that's what she says. Get me an ANI trace, which means tell me where that phone call is coming from. So they're like, it's coming from Niagara Falls. So that's where they know he has the kid, is in Niagara Falls.
Well, I just again want to thank Jackie, our subject matter expert, for coming in and giving us some insight.
Anytime.
So they're able to get a leg up on them and find out where they're hidden. So they're in Niagara Falls. They're hidden at that hotel, like an abandoned hotel.
Hold on. Did you notice the hotel name?
Yes, it was something.
Hold on.
I just can't remember what it's called.
The Deer Lick Lodge.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. What?
Yeah.
Continue.
It's the resort Windermere House in the Muskoka region of Ontario, Canada.
All of those words were wrong.
I don't know how to say it. Ontario? Is that wrong?
Ontario, Windermere House in Muskoka region of Ontario, Canada.
Oh, well. Okay. What did I say about Windermere? Oh, I was putting an R. Windermere.
Yeah. And then I don't know how you said Muskoka.
Muskoka. It's the first time I've ever seen this word, and my Native American heritage did not come out to help me whatsoever.
Continue.
Anywho, that's where they were filming scenes, and apparently there was like a huge fire that burned down the resort. It's no longer around anymore anyways, but
it says Windermere House has since been rebuilt.
Oh, well, that version of it is not there anymore. It's gone. Now it's a new one.
Okay.
Rest in peace.
So it's at this point she knows what Operation Honeymoon is, and it is they are going to. So Perkins has devised a way to justify that they need to continue this program, and to continue and to get funding for this program that he runs.
Well, no, the honeymoon project essentially, I mean, they're doing on-site terrorism, blaming it on a terrorist, so that the government will give funding to their department. Right. That's all it is.
That's what I was saying.
Well, you made it seem like that the honeymoon program was what needed to be funded, but the honeymoon program was what was getting them the funding for their existence.
Yes. And so their plan is to have this tanker full of explosives, drive it into the middle of town during a Christmas parade, plant a Muslim dead guy in the driver's seat so that they can have an act of terrorism, be able to blame it on a group of people outside the US so that it justifies the funding for the operatives program.
So Charlie tells Mitch to kind of like watch her. Mm-hmm. I don't want to say watch her six, but watch her back. He's got like a rifle, I think. And she's going to go in to get her daughter. But problem is Timothy was 2 steps ahead of her. And as soon as she goes to get her daughter, lights are on. Everybody is attacking her. They were waiting for her, essentially. She gets actually, I don't know if she actually gets blown into or she goes in by herself into like this basement area. Turns out there's a shit ton of gasoline. This is relevant because what we don't know is at this point she puts gasoline in her daughter's baby doll head. One that Perkins apparently... There's a scene where Perkins sees he's in the room with Timothy and the daughter is knocked out from the whatever they gassed her with. And he's like, it's Christmas. She should at least have a doll. At
Mhm.
this point, my mother goes, "Is he the dad?" I said, "I cannot with you. Go."
Oh my gosh, Christine Perkins is not the fucking dad.
I said, "He's just giving the baby a doll."
Well,
Jesus.
because for all intent and purposes, after her parents were killed, he was the father figure for Charlie.
But he wants to kill her. That's
Well, I know
crazy.
that, but so he still has some sympathy, and I bet he kind of uses the little girl as almost like a granddaughter to him, so she deserves something on Christmas.
Before he kills her and her mother.
I don't
Um,
think they were planning on killing the girl. They wanted to trade the girl for Charlie, was the deal.
yeah. Well, Charlie ended up having to like give herself up. They catch Hennessey.
Mhm.
They have him tied up to a chair in another part of the room, a
Upstairs.
part of the resort.
Yeah.
And Charlie, they take her jacket away, and they have her and her daughter in like an extremely, what is an ice
A walk-in
box ice.
freezer.
Thank you. That's it.
An icebox. Are we
it-
little giants now?
yeah. So she's at this point like just begging to save the daughter. She's just like, "Look, do you not see her eyes? They are your eyes." As just finally telling this asshole, "This is your daughter."
Mhm.
And he looks at her, and you could tell he's kind of thrown by it a little bit, but he's still going full ahead to kill both of them. And I think my mom finally shuts up after this. She's like, "Oh, so he's the father." I was like, "Yes. What I
And
told you at the beginning of this damn movie."
and Timothy has this whole plan of like essentially killing them by freezing them in this walk-in freezer and then dumping them in kind of a snowbank along a route that like
Right.
Samantha would take in Pennsylvania, so it looks like an accident.
Well, yeah, he said that they're going to call her crazy, that she purposely killed her child.
Yeah.
He does say that. I don't think he's looking at it for it to look like an accident. I think he wants everyone to remember her as being a psychopath and killing her child. But so he locks them in there. And after he leaves, that's when Charlie starts to go to work. She pulls down what looks like a crowbar situation but I know it's not
It's
a
a
crowbar.
meat
And she
hook.
starts to make a meat hook. Thank you. She
Mhm.
makes a dent into the floor so that she can use it to put the gasoline so that it can come through under the door and make a bomb or to blow the door off. But the problem is when she's trying to get a spark with hitting the metal to the floor and it's not working, she gets really frustrated.
So this is when Ken came in and he goes, "Well, that's never going to work." And I was like, "Okay." But then this next part, even I was like, "Really? This is how we're solving this problem?" So the little girl goes, "Mommy, will these help?" And then like pulls
Don't make fun of the poor girl's lisp. Poor thing.
she was fucking annoying. And she pulls out a book of matches from her cast. And she's like, "I have them to light the candle to lead you home," or some bullshit like that. And so she's like, "Yeah, that'll do." And then lights the stream of gasoline that goes out into the room and like literally blows 3 stories worth of hotel off.
Well, yeah, because there is so much gasoline in that basement. That's what
Yes.
makes it go kaboom that way. And this knocks Hennessy right through the window.
Yeah, he just like flies out the window.
He
Oh.
hits a tree. I don't know how he's still alive.
Mm.
I don't know. Even my mom said it, like, I don't know how he's alive. And so from there, he they're they have walkie-talkies or whatever, so they're on the same channel, What
I
happened?
forgot when he hits the tree and falls into the snowbank, he goes, "You foxy bitch."
She is. She is
I
a
mean,
foxy
not
bitch.
wrong, Mitch.
So Samantha is able to, she's trying to fight her way out, and she tells her daughter to like run and hide while she's fighting. And this fucking kid, she doesn't run and hide anywhere that makes sense. She goes and runs and hide in the bomb, in the side of the truck. And so like this is when Hennessey's like, Charlie, your
We got a
girl is in
problem.
she's in the truck. And so he volunteers himself to try to go get her. And this is one of my favorite lines. She's just like, "You're never gonna make it and get shot." He's like, "Well, then kill him, bitch, or like take him out." Bitch. I don't forgot what he said. So she's got, she's trying to snipe her way to help him,
Mhm.
but he does get shot pretty bad and he doesn't make it all the way. And the truck starts to take off. And so she has to go chase down the truck with another car, and she's able to whoop some ass and get a hold of the truck and stop it in the like right at the border of like where they're on,
The
I guess, a
bridge.
bridge. And this
And
is when,
well,
go ahead.
and Mitch sees that they're loading up a semi with a car with the dead Muslim in it that they're gonna frame for igniting this tanker bomb
This
thing.
poor man.
Oh, I hated it. Anyway,
Well,
so sorry. I interrupted.
at this point, Charlie ends up having to fight with Timothy. Like they're going at it. Now, this is what I don't understand. Like they're hanging off of some, I don't even know. Like
It didn't
I don't
not
know.
make sense to. I was like, okay, it's like a net.
Yeah,
Like,
they're
I don't
on a
know how
net.
we got here. We're hanging over literally Niagara Falls Dam, it looks like.
Right. And he, if I'm not wrong, he falls
He
through
does.
and he
I was
falls
like,
into
oh,
the
well,
like
he's dead.
he's dead. Yeah. Next thing I know, motherfucker's in a helicopter. And he's like, I gotta make sure this bitch is dead. I'm like, why aren't you dead?
He
So
was
he's trying to shoot
Jason
at her.
Voorhees, Michael Myersing this shit. I'm like,
That's
Timothy should have been dead.
100%. So at this point, she's trying to get out. She does get her daughter out of the truck. Go ahead.
Oh, I do really like the like little banter because there is some like hand-to-hand combat. He pulls out a knife and she says, "Oh, honey, only 4 inches." And he replies, "You'll feel me." I was like, "Oh, what is this that's happening?" A little sexual banter as we're like stabbing each other.
Inches, I think not.
And then she does get Caitlin. There's 7 minutes left on the bomb. She tells Caitlin, run, like, run away, little girl. Don't get blown up. And Charlie's hurt pretty badly. So she
Yeah.
tries to get away, but then she passes out from the pain. And then Caitlin sees that and comes back and she starts yelling at Charlie the same way Charlie yelled at her on the ice, like, "You
But
get
it's
up."
so annoying.
It's so annoying. "Stop being a baby. Life is pain." And apparently that's all Charlie needed was a pep talk.
Get up, mommy. Mommy, I need you to get up. Life is pain, mommy.
So then Charlie gets up, gets on the CB in the tanker, and Mitch hears her and drives out of the semi to go get her. Like, he's flying blind. He's in a semi. In a car in a semi. But he's like, I got this, bitch. Let's go.
He is literally on death's door, okay?
Yeah.
He
He has
is
been
ready to die.
shot in the ankle, shot in the side, and in the original script, he dies in the previous scene. But my understanding is like test audiences like the character of Mitch so much, and they needed to see him have a true redemption from being
Yeah.
like this crooked cop. So Mitch got to live. Yay. So he drives out of the
I
semi
would
to
have
go.
been so mad if he died. I don't think
Yeah.
I would like this movie as much if he died.
Yeah.
Just saying. Go ahead.
So and he yells, "Can't kill me, motherfuckers," as he like drives out of the semi. So there was earlier in the scene, Charlie shoots at these men that are in the helicopter. One like falls, but like catches on fire. So he's just been dangling and burning from like these strung lights.
Because it's Christmas.
Because it's Christmas. This is when Ken lost his ever loving mind. Because she's like, she sees the guy hanging and like unhooks the other side of the lights and like flies up as like the burning body flies down so she can get closer to shoot Timothy in the helicopter. And Ken's like,
no,
that
so she can get his gun.
Oh, that's
and
right.
Then she had to get his gun.
But Ken's like, that doesn't work. And I was like, why not? It's like a man versus a woman. He's like, that body is burnt to such a to such a crisp that there's no way that body weighs more than her, even though she is a slender woman. Like, he was just like, no, I'm done.
I mean, I don't know how burnt to a crisp it was. I know maybe the outside, I don't know if it had gotten to a point where all the flesh was done. I don't know, but I believe it full-heartedly. There's, as you would say, there's nothing wrong with this.
Well, and then after she shoots Timothy and kills him, she slides back down the lights. So it's like popping all of the Christmas lights as she slides back down to the ground. And she like scoops up Caitlin and they hop in Mitch's car and they start driving away. Okay, Danielle, this scene.
Mitch, again, he is hanging on by a thread. But well, there is a scene when Mitch looks like he is about to bitch slap Caitlin because she's like, you drive fast. I don't know, like she tells him to drive faster or like watch where he's going, and he looks at her.
At one point, he says, I'm hurt real bad. I think I'm dying. And I'm like, if this movie had come out any later or sooner, I'm like, Scream had to have bit off this movie. Like, it just makes sense that like they were like, oh, that's a good line, but they came out the same year, so I don't think that could have happened, but it's such a similar line. So they're driving off the bridge away from like the barricade of cars, and when that tanker explodes, Danielle, it literally looks like they threw Matchbox cars in the air in front of a green screen. Like, I was like, these are the special effects.
There's nothing wrong with this movie. It's perfection. Okay.
It was a little low budge. I'm just gonna say it reminded me of remember when for a college project I had to make a short film and it was Rexilla?
Yeah.
It reminded me of that. Not gonna lie. So
it's a perfect movie.
And I'm letting you have that.
But it doesn't look like, in all honesty, there's no way those three would have made it out alive. The car is literally on fire in the back. It's just like bad all around.
Yeah. So they do get a little further down the road, and Mitch is like, yo, I can't drive anymore. Like, I'm done. And so, and Charlie replies, hang in there, partner. Did you forget that we're rich? Like, that's suddenly going to make him all better, heal his wounds.
It might give me a boost. You know what? We do got money. But then the next scene we see, Charlie is in her Thelma and Louise bag, and I don't know what kind of car it is, but she's in a top-down car.
I actually, at this point, Ken like had bitched so much. I like just was like, we need to get this movie over so he stops complaining about it.
So she is driving. She takes a call. We find out Perkins gets arrested. The president has Charlie on speed dial, is now calling her, and pretty much asking her to come back and be a spy. She's like, nah, I'm done with that life. But I do have a favor. I do have a favor for you. And we see Charlie meet with her family. She's with, I guess she kept old boy around. Hal's still there. And Caitlin, and I thought they were supposed to get a dog, so I was disappointed that they didn't have a dog, but they did have some goats. I think those were goats. And then as the movie's ending, you see Hennessey on Larry King Live, and you see his family watching him because they have a bunch of correspondents talking about like this scandal that happened with Perkins and whatnot, and he's like a subject matter expert and savior essentially, because Charlie has asked the president to give him his redemption. So you could see his ex-wife is like eating crow at this point.
Yeah. The car is,
that's it.
Yeah. The car is a 1966 Galaxy 5000 XL. Living her Thumb and Louise dream.
And that is the Long Kiss Goodnight.
Excellent job. So, The Long Kiss Goodnight screenplay was the most expensive in film history. New Line Cinema paid Black $4 million for the screenplay, which was the highest fee a writer had ever taken for a single script at the time.
The first draft of the script, the name Sam Caine was not an alias used by Charlie Baltimore, as it is in the finished film, but was instead a creation of her mind as an anagram of amnesia or amnesiac. Sorry. What else?
The original screenplay was darker and more graphic than the final film. Amongst the differences, it included some alternate action sequences, more violence, like the scene where Mitch and Charlie are captured and get tortured. Both characters also had bigger backstories in the original script. Mitch at one point tells Charlie how he was gang raped in prison and how his wife refuses to let him see his son because of what happened to him. And Charlie also has more of a dark backstory in the script than in the film.
I think it's for the best that it wasn't
Yeah.
added. RFK 575 is the license plate used in the film for the dead terrorist car. And it's also the license plate used by Derek Zoolander's roommate in Zoolander and on a car in Final Destination.
Oh, it gets around.
I wonder what the significance is. Yeah.
It's probably just a stock plate that they just throw on cars, I would assume. Is it the plate that decapitates Sean William Scott character in Final Destination?
Not sure.
We'll have to go back and look. Yvonne Zima, who plays Charlie's daughter Caitlin, would work with Shane Black again nearly 20 years later on the films Iron Man 3 and The Nice Guys, which were both directed by Black.
Samuel L. Jackson refers to himself as a bad motherfucker in the movie because in Pulp Fiction, that is what is written on his wallet.
Female rapper and Murder Inc. recording artist Tiffany Lane uses the name Charlie Baltimore as her moniker. Lane was a lover of famous New York rapper the Notorious B.I.G., who had recorded a song called Long Kiss Goodnight for his 1997 album Life After Death.
Yeah, I always liked her just because of that name, not necessarily because of her music. Also, when Shane Black talked about how they had discussed potentially changing the script to make it about a man, New Line Cinema considered turning it into a male, and they had two people in mind. Steven Seagal and Sylvester Stallone were considered as suitable choices if the lead had changed.
Hard pass.
Yeah, I'm glad it stayed the way it stayed.
Same.
So before we get into our ratings rewind, just want to remind you guys to check us out on social if you haven't started following us yet. There's a lot of good content, so check us out on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube. And Jackie, I'm going to start with you. What is your rating now that you have seen the movie?
I'll give it a 5-day rental. It was enjoyable. I like the really strong female character and the fact that the two main characters were not lovers. Like, obviously, Charlie tried to get it on with Mitch, but that was more just scratching an itch than it was like she was super into him. So I really appreciated that the movie was just very focused on Sam/Charlie's character.
I'm glad that you liked it. For me, it's still a would buy it again. I'd buy it every day. It's so damn good, and I'm glad that I got to rewatch it with my mom because it made it even funnier. So,
well, if you have anything that you'd like to let us know about The Long Kiss Goodnight or strong female action stars in general, or really just anything, call and tell us about your day. Hit us up at our quick drop 909-601-6653, 909-601 NMLF. You can twat us at the Twitters or leave a message on our Spotify for Podcasters account, and you could be featured on a future episode. And happy birthday to one of our Patreon besties and also guest on the Fifth Element episode and our Power Rangers episode. The lovely Laura has a birthday this week, so we appreciate you and we love you so much. So happy birthday.
love you. Happy birthday. And join us next week as we head back to school with some beat with Drumline.
And as always, be kind and rewind.